Our next speaker is Mr. Sudhakar Rao, Director Branding at ICFAI Group India. Mr. Sudhakar Rao is currently associated with ICFAI Group, heading branding department for the entire group that includes 11 ICFAI universities, 9 ICFAI business schools, and a huge distance learning program. He is also the official spokesperson for the ICFAI Group, and I would like to request him to come forward and share his thoughts on the topic, innovations in brand ideation and development. Please.
Mr. and Mrs. Prahlad Kakka. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It's a great privilege actually to be a speaker on the panel where Prahladji has actually lent his keynote address. It's amazing and it has set the tone for all of us. Now my topic is essentially on innovation in brand ideation and its development. I promise to stick to, because there's a whole host of things that you can talk about innovation, and within the 15 plus 5 minutes that is given to us, we will have to actually stick to it. And there are a lot of risks with Prahladji in front of us if I don't stick to it. At the end of it, we will have a lot of questions, and I'll take shelter. If you ask difficult question, sir is there. If you ask easier questions, I will answer. So can we have the presentation now? I would like to actually start with our own basic understanding about innovation and brand ideation, and then take about 6 significant paradigms which I think are significant, and talk a few examples about each one of them. And that itself will take about 15 minutes or 20 minutes. We are from education. ICFAI Group is into education, and I am not a teacher. I have always been a learner, a student, and a practitioner. And here there is nothing to teach. This is more like a feature presentation. And then we go one over the other. Yeah, next. Basically, breaking the rules is what we feel is innovation, and that amounts to what is called big leap. That is the generic, simple definition of innovation. And tying it to the context, the 360-degree branding, which we have always been dreaming of or talking about for years, is now more and more turning real. I think these are the 2 fundamental aspects on which I will base my discussion. Next. The first paradigm is the changing sacrosanct called logo and the brand names. Actually, this has the potential of running a quiz competition here, but then for the paucity of time, I will have to present all at once. You look at the Google Doodle, and they celebrate every single day across the world by changing its logo. Logo in the sense, they celebrate the essence of that particular day, each one standing for something great in each country. And all these attempts, as earlier we discussed, makes the brand younger and younger and more relevant. Next one. This is actually a film where McDonald's has become Mackay's in Australia for its Australian Day. Can we have the commercial, please?
The Australia Day celebration. The long weekend that one of the most patriotic nations on earth becomes more patriotic. McDonald's, as American as Mickey Mouse and apple pie. The challenge? Can you make proud Aussies love an American brand on a weekend when they couldn't care less? Well, in Australia, there's no greater sign of acceptance than being given a nickname, and McDonald's is affectionately known as Macca's. The idea? Prove to Australians how much it mattered to McDonald's by making our nickname official by using a very unexpected use of media. On January 8th, Australia awoke to a world first in the history of McDonald's, the famous golden arches with an Aussie twist.
And McDonald's is making its Aussie nickname official.
McDonald's is getting into the Australia Day spirit.
You might have to look for your local Macca's instead.
Pretty soon, the #1 brand conversation in the country has spread beyond our shores.
For 1 month, McDonald's restaurants will be renamed Macca's.
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 We amplified the conversation with a fully integrated campaign proving our Aussie pride. From the smallest details of Macca's crew changing their badges and adopting their Aussie nicknames, to changing the golden arches above some of the most prominent stores in the land, Macca's was everywhere. And on the Australia Day weekend, McDonald's became Australia's most talked about brand, not to mention news item, because of one simple, bold gesture. And it wasn't just talk, as sales rocketed year on year across the Australia Day weekend as a direct result of the campaign. For a company that serves over 1 million Aussies every day, that's a lot of burgers. And Aussies loved that the world could keep their McDonald's, because there was only one place on earth that you could now officially get Macca's.
I should just keep it Macca's.
Well, it is Macca's.
Yeah,
That's the point.
Macca's. What's the point? What's McDonald's?
Well, that is self-explanatory. And then we'll look at another example, which is very, very consistent, which has been talked about just now. It doesn't use its brand name to start with in all its commercials, but quite consistent across multiple commercials. I quickly would like to have the Nike commercial. Risk everything.
Flawed, 76% probability of missing the target. Reckless, 50% chance of failure. And this is not an acceptable way to arrive at training. Even the greatest players of our time make mistakes. They take too many risks. After all, they're only human. But what if they weren't? I give you the future of football, our clones. Flawless decision-making, guaranteed results. It's what the people want. Football just changed.
Neymar laughed at the clones before the match, but now he's down. Coming off now. Wait, is that Ribéry coming back on? Times are changing. Is this the last we'll see of Ronaldo? Is this the end of phenomenal football?
Basketball. Risk nothing with Perfect LeBron. Before perfecting, football was a wild and unpredictable affair. I've changed that.
What do you think happened to the originals?
You mean what are they doing and where are they now? Who cares?
Zlatan! Zlatan! Look! There's Zlatan! I was Zlatan.
Whoa! Does the manager know about this?
Let me guess, same as last week? You sure you don't want the perm?
Kidding me? Get off me! Then.
Zlatan! Get off, Zlatan! Hey, what happened?
Why are we all here?
A stand to save football.
I like what you have done with the place.
The game that we love is dying. The clones, they're killing it. We must rise up and...
Sorry, let me just... We all want to destroy the clones, but they're unbeatable. Zlatan agrees.
Nobody thinks they can be beaten. But you can do it.
I'm up for it.
And then all of you together, remember what makes you great. You are not afraid to take risks. You play like it's just a game. They play like it's a job. You risk everything to win everything. There's no greater danger than playing it safe.
It's official. The originals are back and they're challenging the clones to a sudden death, winner-take-all game. If they lose, they say they will quit the game forever. The question is, how will they beat the perfect clones?
What a stage for the biggest match on the planet. The world is watching. First goal wins, no second chance.
I'll take that.
There's no greater danger than playing it safe.
Oh, this way. Ciao, ciao.
No, it's too easy. That's better.
Clone that.
Yeah, that's an amazing example of, aside of the paradigm that we are talking about, an amazing example of their belief in storytelling. That's a fantastic example of how they build that platform of Risk Everything. So we now move to the next paradigm, picking on the negative as positive very aggressively. This is happening of late. We see the gender roles changing. We see a lot of role reversals, and that is actually making up for good stories. And what is actually happening in the society is being portrayed very well in the advertisements and brand building. Can we have the next one, please? The famous example of Daag Achhe Hai, and the whole host of commercials about building this dirt-related, dog-related thing, using the negative and converting that into aggressively positive, has been portrayed very well in my view in this example. Next. Yeah. This is classic, the launch of Apple.
Today we celebrate the first glorious anniversary of the information purification directives. We have created for the first time in all history a garden of pure ideology where each work
We are all silent in admiration. Great. So that's about actually, if you see a few other commercials also of Apple at that stage, which was a rebellion kind of revolution and brand innovation, it actually started with that, and many new examples that we find in today's advertising as well. There's another example which I would like to quote, which is more Indian, where a majority of people in society consider it as negative, has been celebrated by a brand called Tanishq. Can we have that commercial? That's about second marriage being celebrated. It is a fantastic, once again, touching advertisement. Yeah.
Daddy बोलो.
A wedding to remember. Tanishq.
Now we move to the next paradigm, that is about building branded communities. The first thing that actually comes to our mind is about Harley Davidson building its communities. Can we have the next one, please? Yeah. Apart from these pictures that is self-evident, what I would like to share here is, very recently there was a strike or some kind of dharna protest in Hyderabad. And it was basically a transport strike. There were no buses plying and there were no auto rickshaws plying, and therefore it was very difficult. Spontaneously, some of these guys who are part of this community, they went out onto the roads and picked up the stranded passengers and dropped them to their nearest places. This happened in front of our eyes probably a month or two back. Very, very recently this is done. How the brand is building its communities, even before, of course, the Facebook was in existence, and it is continuing very well now, quite vibrant, and then it goes into the user group very, very encouragingly. Next, please. Lego is another fantastic example where it is building its own communities in terms of building the example that you see towards the left. It's a miniature version of its art, and that is actually very, very difficult to do that. North Alberta Lego's users group. All the user groups that are touched upon by the brand are very, very fantastic, and it is long lasting. As we are talking about the value being created, and value never dies actually, creating value for user groups will always stay with them and go a very, very long way. I think this style of branding, or this value creation through branding, is the most innovative one and long lasting in my view. Next. The Urban Outfitters is another example where they are planning to have lifestyle townships, and these townships are, they're also going to have their kind of anthropology centers, and then they're going to live into the way we have been living or desiring of living. One of the other examples that they were planning to actually make is that they create a car-free kind of neighborhood. A brand doing this and a brand doing that. All these examples would go a long way in actually building itself in the minds of the consumer. Next one, please. The next paradigm is packaging. We have always seen this packaging very conventional, and now from being just functional to aesthetic, it is as convenient as you for when you are moving, when you're actually thinking of not spilling the coffee over yourself, or carrying in multiple soft drinks or coffee that you have in the stores. This is very interesting, and this packaging change is one of the paradigms of innovation that has happened recently. Next. Yeah, this is about edible packaging. Edible packaging, somebody states that, it's like grape-like skin kind of packaging, which you can actually consume, and then it is much more beyond aesthetics or much more beyond functional. It is actually very, very convenient, and actually induces more of its consumption as well. Next. Technology driving brand innovation. In this paradigm, I would not like to say many things, because we had some problem in actually playing this PPT because of the version difference between the event manager and ours. But then the Amazon's, which is yet to become a reality, the Amazon's delivery innovation speaks volumes about its commitment towards serving the promise of brand through drone. Next. 3D printing. 3D printing for the last 20 years, I think we have been talking about in our classrooms and then sharing these in various seminars and lectures. And slowly it is becoming a reality. I think we have a small film here about 3D printing. This is a fantastic example of technology driving brand innovation. Can we have this, please? This is more about technology, more about 3D printing, and the very concept itself has been lingering in our minds for the last so many years. I hope this becomes a greater reality when we can see and enjoy and talk about it in the days to come. But then it is there, it's around us. It was very difficult for us to believe because when I was visiting one of the universities, one of the government universities in Hyderabad, they had a prototype kind of machine and that costed about 6 crores, 7 crores to establish, and with limited feasibilities, and the number of designs that we could actually experiment and play with were quite limited. And therefore it was very difficult to believe that 3D printing is going to be a reality. So as a paradigm, technology being used to actually change your mind and think and deliver your products and brands. So that is the construct that we are presenting. In this paradigm, I would like to show one video. It's a case study, and this is about using technology to tell the world what you believe in, to talk about your idea, how the technology has been used. This is really fantastic and also interesting example in ideation. Can we have this? This is basically an organ donation. I'm sure some of you would have already seen this.
Is it possible to be more eccentric? Yes, and for a good cause. With only one post, Chiquinho Scarpa shocked all of Brazil and the media. He posted on Facebook that he would bury his $500,000 Bentley in the garden of his mansion, inspired by the pharaohs who buried their treasures.
Shove it up your ass, dude.
Donate to those in need. He's ridiculous and a sick person.
On the 3 following days, 3 more posts. Brazil was outraged, and so was the world.
Polêmico enterro do
carro avaliado em mais de R$1 milhão.
Loucura, desperdício.
Podia doar, né, gente? Coisa mais boa.
Muita gente tá descendo a lenha nele.
A famous talk show called Scarpa so that he could explain.
Está marcado para sexta-feira às 11 horas da manhã o enterro da Bentley.
A TV channel sent a helicopter to fly over his mansion, broadcasting live to the whole country.
Amanhã às 11 horas aqui em casa. Tá, marcado aí, minha equipe vai estar aí 11 horas.
And then the big day finally arrived.
Helicóptero aqui passando, a imprensa toda reunida. Olha ali as pessoas ali, olha ali as pessoas vendo.
Para. Olha. Vou parar com esse enterro. Eu vou convidar vocês todos a entrar em minha casa.
Acompanha o Chiquinho.
Muita gente achou um absurdo essa história de enterrar o meu ventre. A grande maioria das pessoas enterra coisas muito mais valiosas do que o meu carro. Grande maioria das pessoas enterra seus órgãos. É o maior desperdício do mundo.
In 1 week, Count Chiquino Scarpa went from being a villain to being a national hero. All of the negative comments turned into thousands of declarations of love.
Your campaign moved me so much that now I am a donor.
Thanks for teaching us all a lesson.
For giving that a trash too. Beautiful gesture.
Organ donations had never before had so much publicity and debate.
Mas um motivo nobre estava por trás dessa loucura.
A Semana Nacional de Doação de Órgãos.
Eu sou doador, doe órgãos.
Ô mãe, pai, eu quero ser doadora.
Eu acho que é um dos maiores casos de condução de mídia que eu já vi na história, né?
Gênio.
And so, we showed to all of Brazil that nothing is more valuable than an organ.
Quando você faz a doação de órgãos, você vai ajudar um determinado número de pessoas.
Eu estou viva graças ao doador.
Yeah, that's the burial of Bentley idea, which has leveraged, it has been successfully leveraged on social media, very well promoted over there, for an idea, for the purpose of organ donation. Now we move to the last paradigm on innovations in brand ideation, and there are 3 commercials. This paradigm actually talks about using heart-wrenching creativity, either depicting the daringness of a human or in terms of extremely out of the box creativity. We will have these 3 commercials and then we will have some light. First, the Dow commercial.
Only 4% of women believe they're beautiful. To inspire the other 96% to feel the same, we conducted a social experiment. We called in an FBI-trained sketch artist. First, he sketched portraits of the women based on their own self-descriptions.
The older I've gotten, the more freckles I've gotten.
I would say I have a pretty big forehead.
Once I get a sketch, I say thank you very much, and then they leave. I don't see them.
Then, he sketched the same women, based on descriptions by strangers who had met the women briefly.
She had nice eyes. They lit up when she spoke.
Cute nose.
She had blue eyes, very nice blue eyes.
Finally, we revealed the 2 sketches to the women themselves.
This is the sketch that you helped me create, and that's a sketch that somebody described of you.
Yeah, that's...
The second one looks more open, friendly, and happy.
Our experiment generated 2 films, 8 individual short films, and an online exhibit of the sketches. The sketches' visual became the icon of the campaign, used on print and out of home as thumbnails to encourage social media sharing and to illustrate articles on mass media publications. This gave cohesion to all the media touchpoints around the lead film that ran on TV and cinema.
Very pretty girl. And this actually is what Beth looked like.
Yeah, it's true.
And then you see how Beth described herself. And
what I was describing.
The sharing and buzz on social media quickly made the headlines of mass media publications all over the world. With just the first 2 weeks, the campaign was the 4th most shared ad of all time and was viewed more than 73 million times on YouTube. It became the most shared article in Mashable's history, and it generated 3.8 billion global impressions. Most importantly, it made real beauty a global topic of conversation again.
Thank you. I think we should have the next one, the cancer-related campaign, and after that we'll go to the Volvo campaign.
Carefreeness disappears the day you discover you've been diagnosed with cancer. Not a second goes by without thinking about the disease. That's why we asked 20 cancer patients to participate in the project, if only for a second. They were invited to a studio to get their hair and makeup done. During the makeover, they weren't able to see themselves. A picture immortalized the moment when they opened their eyes. This revelation helped them forget the disease, if only for a second. All the pictures were assembled into an art book. The book was inaugurated in Brussels during a photo exhibit for the patient's family members. The book was then sent to PR representatives, journalists, and influential bloggers around the world. Looking through the book, they discovered smiles, laughs, and faces filled with joy. They were invited to watch the film, if only for a second. A couple of days after the launch, the campaign already had significant national and international media coverage.
This video really caught our eye. It's so
An
cool.
amazing
This is
campaign.
a Belgian charity called the Mimi Foundation.
In only 2 weeks and without any media buy, the film was seen more than 15 million times on YouTube. One tweet was sent every 2 minutes non-stop. Donation promise went up 198%. Exhibits are scheduled all over the world, starting with New York, Brussels, and Seville. The book is a real success. A reprint of 5,000 copies is already underway, and another 2,000 copies have been pre-ordered at €60 a book.
Yeah, we are now going to present the last commercial for this paradigm of where it depicts pure human daring. Volvo.
How do you get people all over the world to talk about trucks? That was the challenge when Volvo Trucks introduced 5 new models within 12 months. We created a series of films testing new features. Highly relevant for the core target group, but at the same time, spectacular and entertaining enough to attract a broad audience. Why? Because truck buyers are surrounded by a lot of influencers, like drivers, friends, and families.
This is a hook from the new Volvo FMX. Made of cast iron, and it holds up to 32 tons.
This means 300mm ground clearance, just a little bit more than my head.
One of the tests was turned into an interactive 360 experience. Users were invited to take control of 28 cameras to see more angles and share behind-the-scenes footage. The live tests were accompanied by ads in trucking press and followed up by in-depth interviews with the engineers. This was done both in printed and digital form. The aim for each new live test was to increase the fan base, building up for the grand finale of 2013.
Who can say where the road goes, where the day flows, only time. And who can say if your love grows as your heart shows, only time.
I think those figures will have to be revised because it's a little dated. Thank you. Can we have lights, please? Friends, we talked about 6 paradigms. The changing sacrosanct logo and the brand name, picking on the negative and using it as positive very aggressively, The third one is about branded communities. The fourth one is the change in packaging. Fifth one is using technology for brand innovation. And the last one was about pure human daring or emotion-wrenching creativity. I am through. If you have few questions and answers, it will be at the cost of tea. In case you have any observations and comments, we will have it, and then we'll probably move to the next item. Yes, sir. Risk everything. Yeah.
The underlying factor of all the examples that you showed us,
right, sir,
was that you have to step out of your comfort zone and get into an area which actually not only catches eyeballs but also imagination.
Right.
And if you can't do that, then you're just plodding along.
Right. If we can't do that, we are not doing our job properly. Yeah. Sir, in our I think in one of the first slides that we presented, one of the brand platforms of ICFI is also entrepreneurial mindset. Not every student who passes out of our school becomes an entrepreneur in the conventional sense, but takes risk, whether he works for himself or works for others. So risk-taking, which is the underlining aspect of our business, as you rightly put it, there is no business without risk. And I think that also becomes the theme of today's discussions. A large amount of time is actually converging towards that aspect. Thank you, sir.
You know, I've been to lots of B schools.
Sir?
I've been to lots of B schools. I lectured in a lot of B schools.
Right, sir.
I found that entrepreneurship is a relatively unknown subject. And therefore, only about 5 to 6% of conversion is done towards entrepreneurship. The rest of them look for placements and packages. It's very reassuring to know that an establishment like yours actually stresses on entrepreneurship, because that is what this country, what all countries need, is the adding of value.
Right.
And only entrepreneurs, whatever way they are, can add value. Regardless of how high you are in a job description, as long as you are working for somebody else, your value adding is very limited.
Point taken, sir. Any other observation? Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for this time and for your patient hearing or listening to all the videos and commercials. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That was very inspiring. We'll now move for a very short coffee break, just for 10 minutes as we are pressed on time. So we'll be back in 10 minutes. Thank you.